Xin chào tất cả quý vị và các bạn đến với ngày hội giáo dục thường niên của Auscham được tổ chức tại khách sạn Le Méridien Hotel ngày hôm nay ạ. Good morning everyone. My name is Luke Lê and it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the annual education showcase at Le Méridien Saigon Hotel. So this event today is very special for all of us at Auscham because it is about education. It is one of the most important decisions that we make in our life. And here we are with all the representatives from the top educational institutions and businesses from Australia. We're here to give you the right information for you to make the right choice in your future career. Và sự kiện ngày hôm nay có ý nghĩa rất là đặc biệt đối với tất cả nhân viên của Auscham chúng tôi, bởi vì chủ đề hôm nay sẽ nói về giáo dục. Và khi nói về giáo dục thì đây là một trong những quyết định rất là quan trọng trong cuộc đời của mỗi chúng ta, đúng không ạ? Và có mặt trong chương trình ngày hôm nay thì chúng tôi có rất là nhiều đại diện đến từ các tổ chức giáo dục hàng đầu của Úc và các doanh nghiệp tại Việt Nam sẽ giúp cho quý vị cung cấp những thông tin cũng như là những lời tư vấn, lời khuyên giúp cho các con em của chúng ta có được sự lựa chọn giáo dục đúng đắn nhất trong tương lai. And we could not make this event happen without the support from our sponsors. On behalf of Auscham, I would like to say thank you to MyTech, our headline sponsor, and the government of Western, and Australian International School, AIS. Và để bắt đầu chương trình ngày hôm nay thì tôi xin được phép mời Chủ tịch của Auscham Việt Nam, ông Simon Pugh sẽ lên phát biểu. To welcome all of you here today, I would like to introduce the President of Auscham Vietnam, Mr. Simon Pugh, to give speech. And instead of Simon Pugh, I would like to introduce Mr. Dennis Brunetti. He's the president and CEO of Ericsson Vietnam, the top 10 best workplace in Vietnam. Congratulations for that too. So please welcome.
Thank you. Where's Aaron? Aaron, where are you, mate? Today I'm going digital, no paper, and mobile. I'm going mobile, mate. In the spirit of mobile telephony. Thank you for that, and I do want to acknowledge Simon Pugh as our President of the Australian Chamber of Commerce, and gave a great speech yesterday, by the way, and there were many great speeches yesterday, but Simon gave a great keynote on behalf of Auscham. So my name is Dennis Brunetti. It's my pleasure today to get up early on a Saturday. It's very rare I get up before 10. I'm normally still sleeping, so it's great to be here, and I really do want to thank all of you for taking the time to network and come out on a Saturday morning, so thank you for that. I want to also thank, actually, while I'm recognising people, obviously Simon Pugh, the Chairman and President of Auscham, but also the great people behind the Australian Chamber of Commerce. Simon Fraser, our Executive Director, Rebecca Morgan, and the whole administration team that have been working tirelessly over the last few days to bring the Auscham Education Symposium to Vietnam, to you all yesterday, and of course today's forum as well. So thank you. A round of applause, please, for the Auscham team. And the great board members also, a lot of great board members represented here today as well. I'd like to also recognise, yesterday we had the Deputy General Director of the International Cooperation Department of the Ministry of Education and Training, Mr. Nguyen Tien Dung. He also gave a great speech and talked about the Vietnamese education and training landscape. Very compelling speech. Also Rebecca Ball, who represents Austrade at the Australian Embassy, was here yesterday, and also Jen Bayen, who gave also a great speech on behalf of the Australian Embassy. She works in the Education Department, working in close collaboration with Auscham for quite some time, with Aaron Fennell, who's also here. Aaron does a great job, and yesterday also facilitated the forum that we had. So many great people, really, I hope I haven't forgotten to mention anyone, have contributed to a very successful symposium yesterday, and also last year, which was online, of course, due to COVID. And I recall that one, and it was also as compelling as yesterday. Yesterday's focus was on partnerships and opportunities, and certainly when we think about education and training, it's changing so rapidly now, just like every other industry. Due to COVID, There's been challenges, but also opportunities to develop faster actually and accelerate digital transformation across all industries, including education. The way education has evolved over the last 2 or 3 years has been quite phenomenal. And partnerships have become increasingly important, especially between government, industry and academia. Super important to have those partnerships where we come together and actually deliver education and training which is fit for purpose, which is suited for industry, which is practical and pragmatic and also really visionary and focused on the jobs of the future, which are increasingly digitally inclined, but not just about technology. It's very much about social skills, teamwork, especially across cultures, working across different countries, virtual teamwork, not just necessarily being physically together, but also remotely. That takes skill, or a different type of skill as well. Critical thinking, creative thinking, innovation, being flexible and adaptive to different types of ways of working. This is going to happen at an increasingly accelerated pace. It's going to change even more in the next 2 or 3 years as it has in the last 2 or 3 years. As I mentioned yesterday, change has never been as fast as it is today, but it's never going to be slower than it is today. It's just going to get faster and faster. So to keep up, collaboration is important, and education and training is super important. So I'd like to thank you all for your contribution. For those of you that were here yesterday, many great universities were represented. University of New South Wales, I want to give them a personal plug because we had the opportunity to also meet in Singapore. Felix and Barney, they're all happy. You're getting a very specific, focused attention now, but RMIT, who else should I talk about? There's many others. Someone will hate me after this and say, Dennis, you forgot to mention me. But anyway, I'm thinking of these guys because I spoke to them quite a lot. So today, the focus is more on showcasing the delivery of education and training to the recipients of education and providing a networking opportunity for all of you to collaborate and get together and see opportunities for learning, not only in vocational and tertiary and secondary, but also in the workplace. And we're doing some wonderful things. Aaron shared with me a couple of points. Let's see if I remember them. The vocational education and training partnership between Australia and Vietnam is really rapidly developing and maturing. And the Vietnamese government, as well as the Australian government, sees mutual interest and opportunities for joint growth in vocational training, educational, high school, secondary, university, tertiary, but also, as Simon often refers to, Simon Pugh, apprenticeships need to become, I think, more part of that mix in Vietnam. And certainly there's a lot of vibrance in Australia historically, but certainly in Vietnam, there's a lot of opportunities for apprenticeship type training as well. We're doing great things now, universities, with something called micro-credentialing. So providing short courses and certificates and certification for students online, using different online platforms. So that's also a complement to the traditional way of gaining degrees and diplomas, etc., and learning and developing your own skills. And then, of course, there's Koto. We had yesterday Jimmy Phan, the head of Koto, who does wonderful things in Vietnam for many years. Koto has, I think, 1,200 students or graduates that have come through their program in hospitality. And most of them, I think 100% strike rate when it comes to employment in restaurants and hotels and bars, cafes, etc. Not only in Vietnam, but globally. So they've done great things partnering with TAFEs across Australia. And they've also partnered with Apollo English in delivering English training skills for their students so that they can actually then become even more confident in communication, empowered, and extremely well-versed in being able to deliver hospitality services across not only Vietnam, but like I mentioned, internationally. So there's a few great examples. And of course, the Emerging Leaders Program, which is also an Auscham initiative. We've got 3 vendors or 3 organisations that will be delivering emerging leadership programs for the workplace environment. And that'll start, I think, in Q4 this year, as memory serves me, and it's going to be centred around finance, people and strategy in particular. So thank you for your contribution, those companies that are involved there. So without further ado, I'd like to finish and say thank you all for joining today. Welcome, and enjoy the opportunity to network and get to know the Australian Chamber of Commerce, of course, but all of the other great companies represented today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. So as you can see in the ballroom today, we have 7 booths with educational representative from Australia, different states. We have representative from New South Wales. We have representative from Queensland, from Victoria, and from Western Australia as well. So, and also we're gonna have 2 breakout rooms. The breakout room number 1 on the right-hand side, we're gonna talk about the stage overview, educational overview. So you want to know about the stage that you wanna choose for your family, for your brother, or something like that. You can go to the breakout room number 1 on the right-hand side. And then on the left-hand side, we're going to talk about workplace learning, emotional quotient, and a lot of soft skill and information about technology, finance technology, and big data as well. So please make your time to visit our booth, and our representatives are ready to talk to you. I'll be back for a bit. Thank you. Hi, and I'm here with Crystal from Frontier. Hi, Chris. Can you tell us a little bit about your school?
Yeah, sure. Look, Frontier has been around for 20 years and they deliver a wonderful product in terms of hospitality management, building and construction,
Right.
electro-technology, educators. We've got quite a few educational products and we want to now hopefully reach the shores of Vietnam to deliver some of our products here.
And why Vietnam?
Well, we can see Vietnam being a very dynamic economy. It's growing and it's growing at an unprecedented rate. So we want to sort of like I don't know, from my perspective, a personal perspective, I want to contribute to the growth of Vietnam because I am Vietnamese.
You are Vietnamese. Oh, that's nice to hear that.
Yeah.
So talk about your business in Australia. How you guys are doing after COVID?
We are absolutely thriving. We're thriving because we have adapted a lot of flexible delivery.
Right.
And we've actually now got CRI-COS registration as well, which means we can now deliver our qualifications overseas. So in the COVID lockdown, we didn't actually go sleeping. We were actually working on the background to grow bigger and grow internationally as well.
Right. So entering Vietnam at the moment, do you have any obstacle or any advice for our educator who want to enter Vietnam?
I don't think I've got any advice because, look, we're still new as Frontier, so we haven't actually been in Vietnam at all yet, but we're just trying to get ourselves exposed to the Vietnam market and hopefully have some partnerships or collaborations built up.
Right. So let's talk about the courses here. So if the Vietnamese student come to your school in Australia or they learn at your school in Vietnam, what they gonna get and what it's gonna be different with other courses in Vietnam at the moment?
Good question. Tough question, but good question. I don't think they'll be getting anything that is totally different to what you offer here in Vietnam. Because in Vietnam, you offer a fantastic course. What they will get that is something a little bit different, and that is the skill set they'll learn is directly linked to the industry.
Right.
Because we talk to the industry to find out what they want from our students.
Right.
And therefore, we teach the skills that the industries want, not what we want as an institution.
Right.
So the skills they'll get are absolutely directly related to the industry's needs.
Okay. So you've been working with a lot of Vietnamese students and a lot of Vietnamese. How you find the quality of Vietnamese?
Oh mate, they are absolutely fantastic.
Fantastic.
They're hardworking,
Okay.
very clever, very ambitious.
Right.
And they want to go overseas.
All
They
right.
always want to go overseas. I don't know why. Vietnam is a beautiful country. But no, in seriousness, they are very clever,
Yeah.
very disciplined, hardworking, and they're not shy to actually put in that extra yard to achieve that extra mark,
Right.
so that they can actually achieve success for themselves and their families.
All right. So if you're gonna give advice to the Vietnamese student who going to go to your school, what advice you gonna give to them?
Only one advice is be adaptive,
Be adaptive.
be flexible,
Right.
because the culture in Australia is very different. The culture in every other country is very different.
Right.
The only thing that the Vietnamese don't tend to have quite yet is they're still very shy, very timid, not quite open to expressing their own feelings yet.
Right.
So the advice I would give them is, look, be adaptive, be honest with yourself, and just speak your mind.
Right. Thank you, David.
No problem.
What a great advice. Frontier, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
All right. And now I'm gonna go to Outward Bound, outdoor experiential education. Aaron? Sorry. Okay. Okay.
I'm happy to be here in Outward Bound, Vietnam. Happy to see that the program is pretty tough and challenging, but the students are working together closely, and of course they are feeling tired, but it has offered them a lot of growth and opportunity to know not only themselves but their friends as well. So glad that they will be able to journey upon this in the past couple of days. by doing the different elements such as sand trekking, jungle trekking, abseiling, and even outdoor bouldering.
I went through this 5-day course with Outward Bound Vietnam, and it was full of meaningful moments, and it wasn't hard for me to go through with the people around me and with such supportive instructors around me that constantly encourage me and motivates me throughout the entire 5-day course. It made everything very easy and smooth for me to go through. And I would like to thank Outward Bound Vietnam for everything that they have provided, including the learning and the support they have given me throughout. Thank you, Outward Bound Vietnam.
Hi everyone, this is Luke and I'm here at Outward Bound Vietnam and I'm here with Tung Linh. So hi Tung Linh, can you tell us a little bit about your company?
Sure. So Outward Bound Vietnam actually is a local chapter of a much bigger global network. Outward Bound is a branded name founded in 1941, and currently we have around 38 schools over 35 countries. So Outward Bound Vietnam started at the end of 2016 and at the beginning of 2017. We offer, as you can see here, outdoor experiential education for students and also for corporate clients.
Okay, so Outward Bound very famous in Australia and all around the world,
Yeah, that's
right?
correct.
But why Vietnam? Why Outward Bound decided to come to Vietnam?
Okay, so we believe that we offer something very unique in the market, and this is something that gradually people will get used to. So Vietnam is a very young market with a lot of young people, a lot of students, and currently we can also see the trend that corporate like a large company, they would like to send their staff over some team building program instead of just staying at a resort or just attending like conference and gala dinner. So we really believe that Outward Bound Vietnam does offer something very unique in the market.
Right. So who are the clients of Outward Bound Vietnam?
So at the moment, right, most of our clients are the international school in Vietnam. So most of them follow international curriculum, which will require that in at least 1 or 2 weeks in the school year. So they need to go outside. Hello. So we work a lot with international school in Vietnam, and over the past years, we also work with some large companies. They would like to send their staff over different offices, maybe somebody from Hanoi, somebody from Da Nang, somebody from Ho Chi Minh City, or even somebody from Singapore. We can go together, attend the courses. Our standard course length is 5 days, 4 nights. And after undergoing a lot of like outdoor activities, experience new things, new skills that they have never been to before, they can really bond, and it would make us working together as a workplace a much more better experience.
Right. So today we have a lot of topics about workplace learning and staff quality at work as well. So you work with a lot of Vietnamese colleagues. How do you find the Vietnamese staff quality in Outward Bound Vietnam?
So actually, our instructor, who's the one who are actually delivering the courses outside with the participant, come from 2 main sources. The first one are, of course, the foreign experts that we recruit overseas, and the second one is that we call it the local Vietnamese trainee. Right. We recruited them, and then they will undergone around 6 months of training before they can be promoted to assistant instructor, and then they will be attached to courses run by more experienced staff. And we found that actually the Vietnamese colleagues are really hardworking, they are open to learn, and they are really committed to their job.
Great. So any final comments you want to make about Outward Bound?
Okay, so Outward Bound is still quite new in Vietnam, but we really do offer something different than other like existing companies, and we believe that like for the next few years, companies who are looking to be a better team, looking to learn, to have their staff learn something, can get something out of any like team building program,
Right.
they should come to our bar.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck for today. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
John Calvin Juriet, or Cal as he was known. Cal had spent his time in the Navy as a cartographer, creating 3D relief maps and growing an interest in civil engineering. He worked for a short time at a company that designed and built roof trusses. That he had an idea that would forever change the building industry and become a key event in making MyTech what it is today. Juriet's revelation? The gang nail connector plate, the first metal tie to join two 2x4s that required no nails, screws, or glue. This revelation would save an average of 125 manually driven nails per truss built. Cal's connector plate, or gang nail, grew into Gang Nail Systems Incorporated, a company he founded in 1956, which sold connector plates, assembly machinery, and engineering services. In 1987, Gang Nail was purchased by Hydro Air, and soon after, they merged to form MyTech. Today, MyTech annually ships
Hi everyone, I'm here with MyTech. So hi, can you introduce a little bit about MyTech?
Thank you. We are happy to be here and to have an opportunity to meet people and connect with more company and Auscham together.
So how long MyTech in Vietnam and what kind of services you are providing?
Yeah, currently we have more than 15 years in Vietnam, and previously we are Platinum Global.
Right.
And right now we are MyTech Vietnam, and we have more than 2,500 employees.
Wow.
In Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, we have more than 5 offices in District 7, Ho Chi Minh City.
Right.
And we serve our customer in architecture, estimator, and drafting. And we also have the marketing and the service for the global construction industry.
Right. So I know that MyTech been receiving a lot of interns, a lot of young graduates. So how do you find them at the workplace, the quality of them?
Yes, currently we have many programs for the new graduates, and we have the employees. We currently have the employee referral policy for all employees.
Right.
So we look at our employee as family. And our member will introduce their friends, their relation,
Yeah.
their relative.
Yeah.
And we also have the relationship with the university where we can share our job advertisement, and we have new opportunity.
Yeah.
And we also have the internship and working experience for the newcomer. Yeah. So we create many opportunity.
So how's a working day at MyTech?
Yeah, it's a very funny, friendly, and very happy.
You all sounds agree with it. All right. Oh, okay. You work with a lot of Vietnamese colleagues, obviously. What do you think? Working with Vietnamese colleagues, is it the fun thing for you, and how's their quality at work?
currently we look at the company culture. It is very important. And in my company, our college is very young.
Very young.
Yeah, the Gen Z and
Gen Z.
millennial. Yeah, so they are young, and so we create a dynamic working environment so um, they feel very comfortable in their
Yeah.
work, and also have the speak up policy for employee to easy to talk and share with their colleagues, their manager about their feeling, their working experience,
Yeah.
and their need in their work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, from the perspective of the global company like MyTech, what do you think the future of postgraduates in Vietnam?
Yeah, I think nowadays Vietnam is uh, develop developed rapidly, and we should innovate the technology so that the institutes and new research have many opportunity for the postgraduates, because our student, our new generation need technology,
Right.
needs innovative and development.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead. New South Wales.
Welcome to UNSW's.
Sorry?
You want to interview one of mine? Rani?
I am dressed to kill, but I have a session soon.
Maybe for like
Sao? Đúng rồi, đây này. So, who have this honor?
Both.
Okay, so, sorry, what's your name?
Felix.
Felix?
Felix and Eric.
Eric. All right. All right. We get the
Sorry, what? Okay.
just try to get the branding.
Okay. Yeah. So he will take half the questions, I'll take half the questions.
Oh, it depends. Just take the relevant questions.
So New South Wales University.
Yes.
Sydney?
Sydney. Yeah. University of New South Wales, Sydney.
Yeah.
to UNSW Sydney, a powerhouse of teaching and research. In Sydney, Australia's business and technology capital, we shape a generation of innovative, forward-thinking global citizens.
Knowledge and education are really important because I think you need to understand the world to know how to change it.
Students choose UNSW for our vibrant campuses.
I came up to UNSW for Open Day, where I realised the university had a fantastic student life and also had a stunning location just down from the beach.
And our career-focused teaching.
We can't predict what the jobs of the future are. So the best gift that an education can give you and an education at UNSW can give you is the ability to think critically, to think about problems holistically and collaboratively, and to have the skills in order to adapt, change and continue to innovate throughout your career.
We're all here because we have a passion and we have a drive for something bigger, and you see that reflected in the people around you. We all have a stake in what we're doing. I think that's where the real impact is, creating a more inclusive and open practice through a more inclusive and open gaze of the world.
At UNSW, the courses were structured in a way that reflect the real life applications of what we were studying.
Our graduates join a global network of alumni who are among the most employable in the world.
I'm a technical solutions engineer at Google Cloud. I was confident that I would get a very good job. It was just a matter of time.
Coming out of uni, I felt like I'd been given the tools to figure out the best ways to make a difference and get things done. As a result, those university experiences transfer into the workplace and make you feel confident that whilst there is a lot of learning to do, you can also make a difference really quickly.
Our students learn from engaging and industry-experienced academics. Our faculties and programs are world-class. Our facilities are state-of-the-art. Students are connected to industry through work-integrated learning and internships.
Companies these days are looking for students who have more than just the good grades in the classroom. UNSW has facilitated a few of my initial internships, really providing that foundation and the building block for me to build my skill set and go out and find more internships that I'm really interested in.
We encourage entrepreneurship and support students to launch their own startup. Our students excel and we support their journey.
I think UNSW is a really good space and transition into the professional workplace that comes afterwards.
UNSW really encourages students to connect with the industries that they're trying to move into. Not only are the tutors practicing in the fields that they work in, but also the assignments that you do encourage you to go and connect with the outside world.
Awarding scholarships to high achievers and welcoming sponsored students from across the globe. We provide flexible pathway programs offered by UNSW Global, including diplomas, foundation studies and English language courses. Explore more online and turn your ambition into career success at UNSW Sydney.
We see you on campus
at UNSW Sydney.
Hi everyone, I'm here with University of New South Wales Sydney with Felix and Eric. Hi, can you introduce a little bit about yourself, what you do at school and about your school as well?
Sure, thank you very much. Good morning everyone. I'm Associate Professor Felix from UNSW Business School. Yes, yeah, so I'm one of the educators at the university and yeah. Oh. Sure. Yep.
Technical. All right. Yeah, my name is Eric, and I'm a senior lecturer in the School of Information Systems within the UNSW Business School. So I am I teach in a course that is related to blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Yeah, which I know that
now.
Yeah, which I know is a very popular topic
Very popular.
in Vietnam.
All right. So can you walk us through a little bit about University of New South Wales Sydney?
Sure. So University of New South Wales, Sydney is one of the founding members of the group of 8 elite universities with extremely research, one of the country's leading research and education providers. And we have alumni spanning across the world, well over 400,000 alumni.
Right.
We have well over 50,000 students on campus. We have around 6,000 staff. Lecturers, research scientists, professors, so on and so forth. So it's a very big community.
Right.
It's a very vibrant and dynamic campus that we have at UNSW Sydney. We also have a campus in Canberra.
Canberra.
Yes, as well. Yeah, and we have 6 faculties. And UNSW Canberra.
Yeah. So for our student and parents, how's a day go? You know, like in your school.
On campus?
Yeah, on the campus.
Yeah. So, well, they obviously starts off with some good food. There's a lot of choices for Asian choices.
Asian choices.
Yes, Asian choices
and
around the campus.
There?
And Vietnamese food.
And Vietnamese
There's a strong Vietnamese community in Australia in general and in New South Wales. And a lot of them are into hospitality and food and beverage. So there's a lot of Asian options for our international students when they come over. International students, they also there's accommodation on campus and off-site near Randwick. And we are situated in the eastern suburbs where it's convenient for our students if they want a bit of time off to go to the beach and soak in the sun and soak in the surf that they can.
Right.
And at UNSW Sydney, as I said, we have a very vibrant community of student societies that our students can get involved with, so they can feel that they're part of something special. And there's also a Vietnamese student society that they can be a part of, so that they don't feel too far away from home.
Okay.
And obviously, they have to attend their classes. So now there's hybrid mode because of the pandemic. So we have classes in person, we have classes online. So our students have the flexibility of choosing their mode of operation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eric, you want to add?
Well, one of the things that students coming from overseas will notice in Australia is that it shocked me as well when I first came to Australia, is that Australians seems to be they sleep early and they rise very, very early, like 5 a.m. in the morning, and they will start working out in the gym at about 6, and then they'll have a shower, and then they will come to the office, bright and early at 7 a.m. and they will start sending out emails at around that time. But anyway, but for the students, I think they will enjoy Australia. I think Australia has a very diverse set of lifestyles for everyone. So if you are an indoorsy person, there are lots of cafes, there are museums, and so on and so forth that you can enjoy. And for outdoorsy person, Australia is famous for its pristine beaches, where you can have surfing, you can have all sorts of sports in the ocean, right? The first time I was there, I looked at, they have kite surfing and all sorts of things that you can do on water, which I didn't even knew existed.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting. So I would say that for students, Australia is a great destination, very, very safe. And if you can afford a car, it basically opens up a lot of places in Australia that you can immerse in the culture. It's a great place to be.
Yeah. So for a lot of Vietnamese students, before they go to Australia, one of the biggest questions they usually ask us is there any part-time job opportunity for them to do? So do you have any advice or you have any comment on that?
I do know that there are a lot of opportunities for part-time job. But of course, as a staff member of UNSW, of course, we hope that their priority in coming to Australia, especially if they were enrolled as one of our students, of course, would be to put their focus and energy primarily in education. But of course, we do encourage that if students have the energy and the time to actually go explore the different opportunities out there. Right. So there is, of course, I think like most of the other parts of the world, a huge shortage in tech jobs, IT jobs. But that doesn't mean that that's the only jobs available. But there's lots of opportunities in Australia with a vibrant economy that could kind of like give that type of experience to the students.
Yeah. So just a little bit about Sydney, right? Sydney, we all know that Sydney is very dynamic, very vibrant city. So tell our like future student in Australia how the life of Sydney gonna be for them.
Oh, I mean, as in, I think students in general, when they come to Sydney, they will enjoy themselves. It's like what I said. There's something for everyone. So you have your city life. I mean, we have a nice, vibrant cities with, as Felix mentioned, food from all over the world. Middle East, India, Asia, Europe. So all sorts of cuisines that you can actually experience. Then, if within the New South Wales itself, I mean, Sydney is kind of like a small area, but things is that within New South Wales itself, there's so many national parks. So if you enjoy outdoors activities, camping, and so on and so forth, there's no lack of things for you to do.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Any comment?
Yeah, no. So it's like to reinforce what Eric said. So there's a lot of places of beauty, of natural beauty across Australia. So New South Wales and Sydney is a gateway to a lot of the naturally beautiful places across Australia that our students and their parents can come over and enjoy and really get to immerse. And as Eric also mentioned, because given that Sydney is a very multicultural destination and society, you'll find that there's an abundance and no shortage of global cuisine that students and their parents can try. Yeah.
Final question.
Yeah.
So for the University of New South Wales, Sydney, if you can give our student one subject, the most famous subject at your school, for them to choose, what you would suggest?
Well, I think this is a bit biased, but because we both sit within the School of Information Systems, so I would say take up an Information Systems program. So Information Systems is all about systems that convert raw data into usable information.
Right.
So that's part and parcel of any underlying digital technology adoption and implementation today.
Right.
So if you feel that you are relying on technology for your everyday use, then you've got to pick up information system as a subject.
Right.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm going to be even more biased here because I created the the blockchain and cryptocurrency course only last year. So of course, if this is one of the course, if this is the only course that you could take, yeah, definitely take my course. Now the reason being is that because when I created this course, I was kind of like trying to combine areas, all the different areas from the business disciplines, like for example, economics, finance, management, technology, and even philosophy, right? Into this course, you see a relationship of all these different disciplines that normally you would kind of like take them in isolation, right? You see them all interweave into my course, and you start to see how the interplay of all these elements actually lead to why cryptocurrencies are so attractive to the modern and young students.
Right. So obviously that is the most famous topic at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much, Felix. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. No. Thank you. Sorry.
Accredited by the Vietnamese Ministry of Education and Training and School Curriculum Standards Authority (SCSA), the Western Australian International School System provides education from kindergarten through senior secondary school and is currently offering various international curriculums for all students. The creative and open learning community at WASP aims to provide optimal experiences for students with moderately invested facilities and a team of dedicated, caring teachers with high professional qualifications. With 3 program options for high school, including the IBDP International Baccalaureate, the WACE Western Australian Certificate of Education, and the Vietnamese Ministry of Education and Training program, WASP offers a wide range of diploma options to help students access international programs that are suitable for their study path. The diversification of diploma standards makes it easy for students to choose their study pathways to transfer to famous universities all over the world. The curriculum focuses on the areas of maths, science, languages, information and technology are developed around 7 essential skills: literacy and numeracy, information and communication, technology capability, critical and creative thinking, personal and social capability, ethical understanding, and intercultural understanding. To create confident, dynamic, creative, and knowledgeable generations of students, while students become independent individuals who are fully equipped with the skills necessary to contribute to society. They become capable of communicating with and respecting the cultures of the nations, to work towards the good common interests, and to be responsible members of the community. With more than 20 clubs, the diverse extracurricular activities, and more than 40 learning projects associated with community service that are integrated with academic programs, students can develop the talents and personal interests, creativity, aesthetics, and physically in a holistic manner. Each student at WASP is a unique individual with unique learning needs and abilities. Whether their dream is to become an artist, scientist, poet, athlete, or musician, students are always encouraged by the WASP community so they can develop their abilities and strengths and overcome weaknesses. At WASP, we bring a world-class education with a world of knowledge in the classroom, and together we take the journey towards a modern, humane, and liberal education. And on that journey, generations of students will realize their dreams to become dynamic, creative, enthusiastic, responsible, and adaptable global citizens in the digital era.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Was. Hi, can you introduce about yourself and tell us a little bit about your school?
Sure. My name is Gustavo Paez. I'm the principal of Western Australian International School. Our school is one of the schools accredited for the Western Australia curriculum and is based in Ho Chi Minh since 2010. We offer 2 specific programs, the bilingual and the international one. Both are the combination between the Western Australia curriculum and the MOED. And in the international campus, we offer also the WACE, that means the Western Australia Certificate, and the IB Diploma program.
Right. So your school is in District 3 of Ho Chi Minh City, right? And during COVID, how your school performing? And after COVID, how are you doing?
Well, one of the things that we were very lucky is that the platform that was implemented during the process, because we never stopped. We just switched from face-to-face learning to online learning, incorporating 2 different platforms at the same time. It was a challenge for the students in order to follow all the schedule in online. But first, I believe that the most challenging thing was for the teachers in order to try to accommodate those activities from the normal daily basis activities in their normal life.
Okay. So what courses, what services that your school providing to Vietnamese students?
Um, Being an Australian accredited school follows specific standards and requirements that all the kids they need to follow. For example, when we talk about the core subjects, it doesn't mean only science, math, English, but also incorporate social studies. And according to when they're moving to the secondary levels, also they need to combine certain specific subjects such as accounting, philosophy, psychology. So it depends about the program that they choose and also the path they have to provide. But I believe one of the advantages is that they don't only receive a higher education in terms of the quality, but also in terms that they are receiving exactly the same curriculum as in Western Australia.
Right. So from the video, I can see that there's a lot of activities for the student at your school. So can you describe a day of our student in your school?
Yeah, well, after the normal or the regular schedule, they have also the opportunity in order to have extracurricular activities. So those are a program that are planned in order to switch from every single term. So they have also the chance in order to choose within sports, artistic activities, or even social services activities. It depends about the term and also the offer at the moment. But we would like to have a diversity and also the chance that the students can be diversified in these kind of areas.
Right. So can you share your comment about the future of postgraduates in Vietnam?
Well, I believe that according to the offer that nowadays they have, especially in Ho Chi Minh, between British curriculum, American curriculum, even Australian curriculum, I believe that the bar is raised in terms of the demand and also the expectations. And also there is a challenge in order to have a better process in order to choose a formal university. Having a local abroad universities in Vietnam also makes different choices, not only to just go away abroad, but also to combine those studies. But I believe one of the factors in order to study in a language of instruction that is not a mother tongue certainly is a challenge that in Vietnam they are facing and they are facing very well.
Right. So as one of the successful educator entered Vietnam, do you have any advice for the future educators who want to enter Vietnam?
Well, the requirements by the government, by the country, I believe that Vietnam requires not only teachers, but especially educators, and that's a huge difference between both. So those professionals who wants to switch to education, they need to professionalize in terms of what will be the actual needs in terms of what is the expectation for Asia and also for Vietnam. So it's not only just to have the willingness and also the vocation, but also to have a formal credential and accreditation in order to move forward, in order to become an educator, not just a teacher.
Right. So any further comment you want to give to the Vietnamese parents?
Well, I believe that, as I mentioned, there is a huge offer on the city and even in the country. But the most important thing is to identify what are those certificates and accreditation that every single school has, because from there they can make their own choices according to their needs and their expectations in the future. Because from the programs, there are many schools offering very good programs, but they need to understand which ones are going to fit for every single personality according to their expectations in the nearest future.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you. Was everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's going well. Okay. Huh? Going to talk about Queensland educational overview, and then on the left-hand side, we have fintech and big data discussion. So if you are interested, please move into the rooms. Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm here with Mr. Damien and with Jason. So hi Damien.
Hey Luke, how are you?
Hi, and can you introduce a bit about yourself and Jason, please?
Yeah, sure. So Chisholm's one of the largest vocational education training providers in Victoria, in Melbourne. We train around 40,000 students a year across 8 campuses in the southeast of Melbourne. And we train 250 different qualifications, everything from hospitality to auto to engineering to trades like carpentry and electrical, art and design, business and IT. We have a whole broad range of training programs that we offer.
Right. So talk a little bit about Chisholm in Vietnam, right? At the moment, you have a lot of like partners in Vietnam who can provide the courses to our students.
Yep.
Right. And what kind of degree they're gonna get? And after that, can they go to Australia to continue their study with that degree?
Yes, absolutely. So we work with around 24 different partner colleges here in Vietnam. And we offer around 24 different qualifications in the previous program. So now we're coming into this next program. So we work with the likes of BC Tech in Vung Tau to deliver engineering courses to local students here in Vietnam. And the really good thing about the program here in Vietnam is when a Vietnamese student graduates here in Vietnam, they actually graduate with an Australian qualification.
Right.
And so what that means is they're studying here in Vietnam, in their local province, in their local town, but they actually graduate with that Australian qualification, which means that they can then go straight into industry. They become incredibly employable here in Vietnam, especially with some of the big joint venture companies here in Vietnam, but also they can pathway to Australia. So they can then go through to Australia to move into a degree level program with us in Melbourne, or even if they can get a visa, actually go straight into employment in Australia with their Australian qualification, because what we issue here for them in Vietnam is exactly the same qualification they would get if they studied with us in Melbourne.
All right.
So it's a really good program where people can learn locally, but actually then have a global opportunity.
Okay. So you work a lot with Vietnamese students. So how do you find their quality?
The quality of the students out of Vietnam has been amazing. We've had retention rates in our program here in Vietnam of around 93%. So the retention rates have been fantastic. We start out with English, so we actually train them in English to begin with, and then they do a 2-year technical program for their qualification to get the diploma level qualification. So the students have been amazing. I actually had an alumni event on Thursday night here in Ho Chi Minh, and the students were just so incredible. They've got incredible employment outcomes. They studied at the electrical colleges. You know, they're all earning 20 million plus dong a year. They're young guys, they're only 22, 21, but we're so excited and so thankful to have the opportunity to study these qualifications and then move into incredible jobs locally here in Vietnam.
Right.
But even some people coming out of the program have gone globally, you know, working on cruise ships and moving into further education, into degree and master's level qualifications.
Yeah. So you wouldn't...
Have a chat with BC Tech. So Mr. Tuan from BC Tech in Vung Tau actually runs one of the programs for us in engineering here in Vietnam. So they're our partner college and actually deliver our qualification here in Vietnam.
Yeah. Can you introduce a little bit about... Anh có thể giới thiệu cho tất cả các bạn đang coi livestream biết là cái trường của mình hiện tại là mình đang cung cấp những cái khóa học gì được không ạ?
Vâng, xin chào các bạn. Trường chúng tôi là trường cao đẳng kỹ thuật công nghệ Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu. Hiện nay thì chúng tôi đang đào tạo ở 3 cái cấp trình độ là cao đẳng, trung cấp và sơ cấp, các cái lĩnh vực ngành nghề về kỹ thuật, điện, cơ khí, công nghệ thông tin, kỹ thuật chế biến món ăn, kế toán và may thời trang. Thì hiện nay chúng tôi là một cái đối tác của Chisholm, thì chúng tôi hợp tác để đào tạo một cái khóa về cái ngành cơ điện tử trình độ cao đẳng theo cái chương trình của Chisholm. Các bạn theo học cái chương trình này thì sẽ được học để sau khi tốt nghiệp sẽ được cấp 2 cái bằng, một cái bằng diploma của học viện Chisholm và một bằng cao đẳng của Việt Nam.
Và hiện tại thì khi mà mình làm việc với Chisholm ở Việt Nam thì hiện tại có rất là nhiều cái khóa học tương tự như vậy. Thì khi mà anh làm việc với Chisholm và cái khóa học của Chisholm thì nó khác gì với những cái khóa học đang có ở Việt Nam ạ?
Vâng, thì cái khóa học Chisholm là một cái khóa học rất là đặc biệt. Bởi vì cái chương trình được thiết kế rất là khoa học và mang tính thực tiễn. Các bạn sinh viên theo học chương trình này là được học hoàn toàn chuyên môn bằng tiếng Anh. Và bên cạnh đó thì học thêm một số các cái môn học bằng tiếng Việt, bởi vì có cấp thêm cái bằng của Việt Nam. Đấy, và khi các bạn tham gia học cái chương trình này thì ra cái cơ hội việc làm rất là cao. Bởi vì cái chương trình rất là tốt với các cái điều kiện về đào tạo là đạt chuẩn của Úc và được các cái chuyên gia từ học viện Chisholm kiểm định đạt thì mới được phép đào tạo.
Yeah. Và để cho một cái học sinh người Việt Nam mà muốn đăng ký vào khóa học của bên mình thì các bạn sẽ phải làm gì ạ?
Đơn giản thôi thì các bạn cái điều kiện ban đầu đó là các bạn phải tốt nghiệp trung học phổ thông và các bạn sẽ đăng ký theo các cái kênh thông tin của trường. Các bạn có thể đăng ký online hoặc là đăng ký trực tiếp, nộp hồ sơ vào trường và trường sẽ xét tuyển. Và trong cái năm 2022 này thì chúng tôi hiện tại đang tuyển sinh đến ngày 30 tháng 10 năm 2022.
Right. Cảm ơn anh. And I have a question for Mr. Damien. So why Vietnam?
Why Vietnam? I think the opportunity in Vietnam and the connections between Australia and Vietnam are really, really strong. There's also a real desire from the Vietnamese government to really increase the profile and quality of vocational education here in Vietnam. And so early in sort of 2013, they went out and looked to how do they increase the quality. So there's a real demand for higher education here in Vietnam, so going into the university sector. But actually the vocational education programs provide really competency-based, skills-based programs that are really needed here in Vietnam as a real strong industrial and manufacturing base. You see a lot of big multinationals coming here into Vietnam, but they need people who can actually do things, right? So with their hands, competency-based. And so the Vietnamese government recognised that and then started to bring in and looked globally in terms of what's out there with vocational education. Australia has one of the most robust vocational education systems in the world. So they went to Australia, and then we engaged with them to be able to start delivering those programs. But I also think the linkages between Vietnam and Australia and the education between the two countries is phenomenal. Just hearing yesterday the speakers speak about the opportunities that are there, the volume of students and the inquiry that we get is amazing. So I think the opportunity with Vietnam and Australia is going to grow and keep growing.
Right.
And I think vocational education is going to be a cornerstone of that growth.
Right. Okay. So for Vietnamese students who graduate in Vietnam and they have the quality, they have the degree, right, of GSM, do you see them go to Australia and work there?
That's absolutely one of the outcomes that they can do, yeah.
Right.
So when they graduate here in Vietnam, they actually graduate with the Australian qualification.
Right.
So they've got multiple, that opens up so many opportunities for them. So by having that Australian qualification, they can go to Australia, walk into any employer in Australia and go, here's my diploma level qualification in engineering that I got with BC Tech, say in Vung Tau. But actually they can walk into any job, especially at the moment in Australia with the skills shortages that we have. And be really easy. The only thing is they need to get a visa, so they need to go through the visa application process with the Australian government. That's controlled by the Australian government. But if they can go through that process and secure a visa, actually once you get to Australia, you've got that qualification and you're ready to go. The other opportunity that presents them is also high level education. So if they graduate with that diploma level education, they can then move into like a Bachelor of Engineering or a Bachelor of Mechatronics and really start stepping up their education and make them incredibly employable once they return back. Mr. Tawny's got like graduates that are now earning $70 million a month from the program that they ran. So the opportunities to earn really good money and go into really, really good jobs here in Vietnam, but also in Australia, are phenomenal.
Right. So the last comment, do you have any advice for the Vietnamese students?
Consider vocational education.
All right.
If I can put it in a nutshell, it's not all about higher ed. Higher ed is really important. Those university degrees are super important, no question about it. But vocational education provides people with competency-based training and incredible opportunities for careers and jobs that will be with them for the rest of their life.
Right.
So they will learn how to do things and be able to engage in a way that they will never get from a university, which is primarily theoretical-based training. We do primarily practical-based training.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely consider vocational education as a real opportunity for students and for parents considering their children to go into vocational education because the outcomes are phenomenal.
Yeah. So the same question for anh Thuận. Cho những cái sinh viên mà chuẩn bị tốt nghiệp phổ thông thì anh có những cái lời khuyên nào cho các bạn trong việc chọn khóa học không ạ?
Có lẽ hiện tại bây giờ thì các bạn có rất là nhiều cơ hội để chọn các cái khoa học cho riêng mình. Đại học có và các cái trình độ cao đẳng hoặc là trung cấp các bạn có thể lựa chọn để theo học. Tuy nhiên thì ở đây thì theo tôi nghĩ rằng là để mà đăng ký học một cái chương trình cao đẳng bây giờ ra trường thì cái cơ hội sau khi tốt nghiệp rất là cao. Các bạn có được một cái nhu cầu tuyển dụng của các doanh nghiệp rất là lớn đặc biệt là khi các bạn khi theo học các cái chương trình chất lượng cao như là chương trình của Học viện Chi Dầm, thì chúng tôi chỉ khuyên các bạn rằng là cái cơ hội ở Việt Nam mà để được học một cái chương trình của Úc và được cấp cái bằng của Úc ngay tại Việt Nam, đó là một cái điều rất là tốt, và nó giúp cho các bạn được tiết kiệm được rất là nhiều thứ về mặt thời gian, về mặt chi phí, và khi các bạn học được gần nhà thì cũng rất là nhiều cái vấn đề rất là thuận lợi. Do đó mà các bạn có thể quan tâm để lựa chọn các cái chương trình quốc tế đã tổ chức ở Việt Nam, như là trường chúng tôi đang kết hợp với Chi Dầm để đào tạo cái chương trình cơ điện tử của Chi Dầm.
Rất cảm ơn lời chia sẻ của anh. Thank you very much, Damien. Thank you very much, Anton. Yeah. Okay. And now we're going to move to Times Education, everyone, after the video. Hi everyone, I'm here with Mr. John from Times Education. Hi John, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so can you introduce a bit about yourself and Times Education, please?
Yeah, absolutely, thank you. So my name is John, you can call me Jono as well. I am the Chief Public Relation Officer at Times Education Group. So just to introduce ourselves, we've got our banner here. Ooh, hello. Got me? Yep, I'll introduce from bottom up. So with Times Education Group, we have 7 colleges underneath us, ranging from general English to high school and primary school English preparation, to our vet skills, over 6 different colleges, as well as IBT, which is a high-level education that can pathway us into other universities. So, again, hello. Thank you. So with our courses, we focus on a lot of different areas. We've got hospitality, commercial cookery, aged care, early childhood education and care, and recently we've got real estate courses starting with us as well. And looking at our university partners, we've got lots of partners that we work with to pathway into. Edith Cohen and CQU is our 2 main brand kind of universities that we work with to Pathway. And we've also got some really exciting news, which I can share in a bit. We've got our new online innovative platforms, EduHub, EduHere, and EduPath, that we spent a lot of time and investment, during COVID to launch. And we're very excited to come to Vietnam to share.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about EduHub, Air and Path there?
No worries. So with EduHub, it is an all-in-one agency management system. So a lot of, challenges that agents and our schools, a lot of challenges that we meet is that, sometimes paperwork, COEs, commission just gets really messy and we don't know what's happening. So our investment in EduHub is to make sure that everything is streamlined, transparent, hassle-free. We're able to register our agents into the system. COEs can be done instantly whenever, student payments, whenever there's anything, anything's due, visas expiring. All of this information is all on there with a click of a button with notifications as well for all of the students.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. So I know that you are looking for partners in Vietnam, right? So why Vietnam?
Yeah, so look, Vietnam, is what Mr. Zong, the Minister for Training and Education, what he said yesterday really reinforced what we believed in as well. Vietnam is such a supportive country when it comes to, Australia, and also wanting to support, students coming to Australia to experience the Australian life, to learn English and to really participate. And so with us, we would like to, support Vietnam in that regards as well, and, connect together, work together, collaborate, mutual support. So that's why our first stop, launching our online systems, without hesitation, we chose to Vietnam.
Okay, so obviously in Australia, you have been working with a lot of Vietnamese students, right? How are they doing?
Yeah, they're doing great. Look, I think Vietnamese students love Australia, right? It's so multicultural. They can come here, they can experience a lot of different things. Yeah, our students are always having a lot of fun when they come over to Australia.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so do you have any advice for postgraduate students in Vietnam?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think everyone all knows right now with the job skills lack worldwide, Australia is very welcoming for anyone to come in and support Australia and and help out with the Australian workforce. So yes, look, from postgraduates to anyone in Vietnam, really, if you can come over to Australia, Australia is big open arms, welcoming everyone to come in, have that Aussie life.
Okay, so you are one of the educators that are entering Vietnam. So do you find it any obstacle or what is the great things about entering Vietnam?
Yeah, so look, when we look at obstacles and challenges, obviously, I think the obvious topics is always around visa applications and, how do you actually get to Australia? Putting those aside, if you're able to get that all fixed, which, there's a lot of support around the government and all of that, I think, the minute you step into Australia, that's where all the challenges are gone, and it's all about experiencing that life and, having fun and learning, how Australia's gone. I think, Australia's just, it's so welcoming, we're so multicultural. When we talk about multicultural, it's not even just, we welcome foreigners to come in and, and learn the Australian way. The Australian way itself is so multicultural. We have students and, visitors from all around the world. And, so when you come to Australia, it's not just learning, the good old Aussie barbecue, what we do in our backyards, but you can also experience all the different multicultural life as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so which city originally you came from Australia?
Yeah, so I personally, I was born and grew up in Brisbane. And, as you guys would know, Brisbane Olympics is coming to Brisbane. So
Okay.
if you haven't heard of Brisbane, you know Brisbane now. We've got Gold Coast, which is really close by to us, which is beautiful, sunny, beachy, with the beach and, great food. We also have campus in Sydney and Perth, which again is really great places to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question. So what support Times Education gonna give to the student when they go to Australia?
Yeah, so I guess, with Times Education, given that we've got our 7 colleges with us, we have a lot of partnerships with high schools, universities. We also have a lot of partnerships with industries. So what we would like to do is, be there for our students where whenever they have any issues, we can help them solve it or at least find the right people to do so. So, starting with our primary school and high school English preparation. When they come here, they feel like their English level's not quite there yet. We've got that support to get them streamlined into our participating high schools. And the same with our vet courses. Once you complete our English courses, you can then, get into our vet courses and learn your skill sets. If you want to progress to university, you can do our IBT first year course, and it takes you straight into the second year courses for instance, EduCohen and CQU. We work with a lot of industry partners, so therefore, the instant, you probably don't even need to graduate, placement opportunities, during holidays, to able to go and work for different companies. And then, especially when you graduate, you have opportunity to go into full-time job. So, we're able to streamline that entire journey for you so that you don't even need to worry about, where to find help. We're here to help. And that's what we want to do to support the students.
Right. So any advice for our student who want to go to Australia?
Give us a call. Come straight to Times. Yeah, jokes aside, I really think, coming to Australia, it's just, I just feel like it's just, it is such an obvious choice. Australia, we have so much to give. We have so much potential. Our food is amazing. We've got beautiful weather. We've got beautiful everything. So so definitely come to Australia.
Okay, thank you very much, John.
All right, thank
you very much. So everyone, if you want to find out the information about Times Education, let's go to timesedu.com.au. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Good morning. Welcome. That didn't work very well. Let me try that again. Good morning. Welcome. Good morning. Hey, that's much better. Turn to the person next to you, give them a high five, and introduce yourself. Okay. My sister, Mary MacDonald, PhD, works for the Australian government in Canberra. And she's been working for the Ministry of Health for many, many, many years. And a few years ago, she moved from the Ministry of Health to the Ministry of Education, where she supports and helps write policy and implement policy for the Australian government. And I always remember her saying that in Australia, and probably all around the world, with people, disadvantaged people or groups, she always saw there was a disparity between their education and where they were at. So she's working very hard to help educate, to bring education and higher education to these people. Now, this morning, my speech has been condensed from a 20-minute to a 10-minute, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So just bear with me. So I'd like to talk to you today about coaching. And I'm an executive coach, a health coach, and I work with human behaviour, people's behaviour. And, you know, if you like to think of an analogy of a computer and a human, computers have a hard drive where you put your programs on. Yes or yes? Oh, you do talk. Very good. Yes. So we also, when we're born, we have a hard drive. That's called our subconscious mind. And when we come into the world, or rather still, when you buy a computer and you take it out of the box, can you use the computer straight away? No. What do you have to do? Very good. Who's 14 here? Okay, so we have to put programs onto the computer, yes? Okay, we're the same. We come into the world, little babies that we are, and we can't do anything. We can't walk, we can't talk, can't eat. And our parents program us. For the first 0 to 7 years, we're programmed. How to walk, how to talk, how to eat. We look at our parents, how to have a relationship. We look at our parents, how to make money. We look at our parents, how to be healthy or not. So we've got a whole bunch of programs within us, 0 to 7 years old. After that, we get a conscious mind. The conscious mind on the computer analogy is like the keyboard. So if I've got a computer and I only have Outlook Express on my computer, and I type in, give me the Word document, nothing's going to happen. It's not on the hard drive. So our conscious mind is that keyboard. So now we can use our conscious mind to go in and to change the programming that we have. But a lot of people don't. We have the old patterns and programs. Some of them are very good, but some of them don't give us the results that we want. So we also have a cultural program. Who's from Australia here? I think there's a few. Raise your hand. Okay, very good. So in Australia, we have cultural programs. And I'm going to share one of them with you now. You know the zebra crossing. So in Australia, we've got a zebra crossing. It's white lines, and you can go near one of those and the car will slow down, the window will go down, the arm will come out, and you feel very confident that you can walk across those lines. Now in Vietnam, they have the same zebra crossing, correct? Yeah. So when you go near that crossing and you look into the traffic, you can see someone going, and they're waiting for you to get onto those lines so they can do their thing. And then you have to play the game, you have to run, jump, or go over the bridge, and you finally get to the other side and the bike goes past you and you go, hey, watch where you're driving. And the man or person will turn around and say, what's wrong with that man? It's our job to run you over on these lines. So which one is right? The Vietnamese version or the Australian version? They're just programs. When you're in Vietnam, you play that game, and when you're in Australia, you play that game. So it's not our job to change people's programs. Who's married here? Okay. Who would like to get married? Oh, okay, very good. So have you tried to change your partner? Yeah. You know, I tried that years ago, and I can assure you it didn't go very well. So it's not our job, unless you're a professional, you're in a position where you can help change people's programming. They have a relationship programs, they have health programs, and they're in the subconscious. That's our hard drive. And we're not conscious to the programs that we run. That's the challenge. So as a coach, I help bring awareness to people's programs that don't give them the results that they want in their life. It can be a relationship program, it can be a health program, but they're just not conscious of the programs they're running that are giving them their results. So as a coach, I will work with them to bring awareness to the programs they're running that are not serving them. So there's individual programs, we have cultural programs, and our job, especially here in Vietnam and any country now, there's a lot of multiculturalism. So it's not our job to change people's programs, but it's our job to manage the people's programs, to manage our own programs, to manage our own emotions. I do a 6-day leadership emotional intelligence training, and we work on your subconscious mind, and we start to become aware of all those programs that no longer serve you. And we will work with you to change them. First, work out, what do you want? You know, clients come to me, they see me, they sit down, they tell me all the challenges and the problems and what's not working, and you know, some of them have quite a few, as we do. And then I will say, okay, sir, thanks for sharing, I really appreciate that. What do you want? And they go very quiet, the eyes roll around in the head, and they don't know. So we really need to work out, what do I want, and focus on that. So as a coach, once we identify what the client wants, I only want to know about their past for the first session, because now we're moving forward. What do you want, sir? Okay, I want more money, I want better health, I want to build a business. Okay, great. Then we start to take steps to get there. And if the past comes up, an old program, we'll then go in, see what the program is, we do some adjustments, with certain tools and techniques, hypnosis and different things that we use to reprogram, to get the program to match what they want in their conscious mind. And then their behaviour becomes much, much better. You know, people talk about motivation, discipline. During the lockdown last year, I was locked up at home with the family, as you all were, and I made a decision to practice yoga twice a day. So I'll do one in the morning and I'll do one at night, 2 times a day. And at the end of the COVID, at the end of the lockdown, 3 months, I continued to do it to this very day, over a year, 14, 15 months. I did my first one this morning, and I'll do another one this evening. And people must be thinking, wow, you're very disciplined, you're very motivated. But I'm not, because it's a program. I have zero resistance to doing that activity. Zero. I just get up, okay, first yoga. Before I go to bed, okay, second yoga. I haven't got motivation that much. You know, it's a resource that we don't have much of. So when you get a program in your subconscious mind that is in alignment with what you want, then your behaviour becomes much easier and you get your results much quicker. If you say, I want something, I want to get married, but in your programming from a child, you're not worthy, you don't deserve, you got low self-esteem, your behaviour will sabotage everything. So you don't get married is what you want. Because it's the subconscious mind that's running the show. It's running the behaviour. It's running the results. So to wrap up, as a coach, you could say I'm a programmer. So I program people's subconscious mind to be in alignment with what they want. So it makes their experience of the world much better. It makes their behaviour more enjoyable. And they get the exact results they say they want. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you very much, Mr. Paul. And to continue our event today, there are two very special guests we have here. The first one is a very famous chef, one of my most favorite chefs in Ho Chi Minh City, Chef Hoa, and a great case studies of a Vietnamese very successful after taking Australian education. Please welcome on stage Chef Hoa and Miss Camelia. Please welcome. Is that a seat? Yeah, immediate one. Most important person today. Okay, so I think these two faces are very familiar with a lot of us here. So Anh Hoa, can you introduce a bit about yourself and then Miss Camelia, please.
Okay, chắc là Thanh Hòa xin nói tiếng Việt đi ha. Thực ra thì Thanh Hòa rất là vui khi mà có được cái lời mời hôm nay đến để mà chia sẻ cái câu chuyện riêng của mình, mà câu chuyện mà Thanh Hòa đã trải nghiệm qua. Xin lỗi. Khi mà Thanh Hòa có cái cơ hội đặt chân sang một đất nước mà tại thời điểm đó đối với Thanh Hòa đã là một giấc mơ của rất nhiều người, để có một cái cơ hội học hỏi và trau dồi thêm rất nhiều thứ, không chỉ có là văn hóa không, gọi là kiến thức không, mà là văn hóa, nhiều thứ khác nữa. Và sau một khoảng thời gian rất là dài thì Thanh Hòa trở về Việt Nam, và Thanh Hòa bây giờ đã là một người chuyển sang làm người đầu bếp. Có thể là mấy bạn sẽ thắc mắc vì sao mà từ đi học rồi về làm nghề bếp, đó là cả một câu chuyện. Lát nữa Thanh Hòa sẽ chia sẻ thêm.
Okay, so Hoa got a great opportunity to go to another country, which is Australia, for his education, and then he make it back to Vietnam and work as a chef. That's a long story, and he will introduce to us later. So now, please, Camelia.
Thank you, Luke. Hello, everyone. I was listening to Paul earlier when he says he was a programmer, and I was thinking back how I was growing up. And I thought, oh my God, my parents didn't program me because I didn't live with them. So that's one of those things that led me there by myself and trying to figure out my way. And there's two things that I think that's one of my greatest gifts. One thing that my dad always tell me, no matter what you do in life, be kind. That's the only thing that I listen from dad. And as I was growing up, there's another things that people been questioning me, for example, saying, well, so tell me what is the best gift that you have ever received in your life? And I say, I don't know. Maybe it's my education. So I think that is basically the reason why I am here today, because it's thanks to the education that I have. And I make my choice. My parents didn't really involve in any decision. They say probably they should send me overseas, give me a couple of different options, and I chose to be in Australia. So For a few years went by, and I think it's 12 years now, 10 years after graduation. I am now a director of sales for a hotel in Ho Chi Minh City, and also a part-time lecturer at the RMIT University.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. Với Camelia thì như cái lời chia sẻ của anh Paul khi nãy thì rất là may mắn là khi mà Camelia lớn lên thì cổ không có bị dùng cái từ lập trình ha, bởi bố mẹ của mình. Cổ có rất là nhiều cái sự tự do và lựa chọn cho cuộc sống của mình. Thì rất may mắn là Camelia có cơ hội học tập ở Úc và có rất là nhiều lựa chọn. Tuy nhiên là Úc là một cái quốc gia mà cô muốn đến, và đến thời điểm hiện tại thì cô đang là Sales Director của một cái hotel lớn ở thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, và cũng như là part-time lecturer của RMIT Việt Nam. Ok, bây giờ trở lại với anh Hòa. Khi vừa nãy thì anh nói là cái câu chuyện của mình nó sẽ rất là dài và rất là thú vị, thì chắc chắn là rất là nhiều người ở đây muốn nghe là cái sự thú vị của câu chuyện mình là như thế nào. Mời anh chia sẻ.
Có một cái điểm mà giống như Camilla, right? Thì Thanh Hòa cũng tức là ba có nghĩa là người come up cái idea, cái ý tưởng là đi du học. Tại vì tại thời điểm đó năm 1994 thì Thanh Hòa đang học đại học năm thứ hai của trường Đại học Tài kế toán ở trên đường Nguyễn Tri Phương, bây giờ là trường kinh tế. Thì ba mới hỏi là con có muốn đi du học không? Thì nhưng mà đó là câu hỏi đầu tiên, và Thanh Hòa suy nghĩ nếu như mà bây giờ mà mình không đi, mình có, tức là ba mẹ sẽ có một cái khoản nào đó dành dụm để mà cho mình khi mà mình thêm 2 năm nữa mình tốt nghiệp thì mình sẽ có một cái vốn, rồi cũng tìm một công việc ở một cái công ty nhà nước hay của nhà nước hay là một công ty nào đó mình chưa biết, là tại vì thời điểm 94 là thì mở cửa thì như thế nào thì mình cũng thấy là ok, cũng rất là an phận. Nhưng mà mình nghĩ là nếu như mình đi nước ngoài thì mình sẽ được cái gì? Đó là cái suy nghĩ thứ hai mà Thanh Hòa nghĩ tới, đặt tới. Thì Thanh Hòa nghĩ là nếu như mà đi du học nước ngoài thì có rất nhiều cơ hội, cái opportunity nó sẽ mở rất nhiều. Và đó là một cái lý do mà Thanh Hòa nghĩ rằng nếu như ngoài cái vấn đề là học về kiến thức ra, mình có thêm về văn hóa, mình có thêm về ngôn ngữ, mà Thanh Hòa muốn rằng là tiếng Anh của mình phải thật giỏi, phải hiểu và không phải hiểu về gọi là những cái câu hàng ngày rồi chuyên môn, mà mình phải hiểu văn hóa của cái nước mình sẽ tới. Và Thanh Hòa quyết định là vậy thì đồng ý theo cái ý kiến của ba. Nhưng mà có thêm một cái nữa là ba nói là nếu như mà con đi học thì ba chỉ có thể cho con một khoản tiền ban đầu thôi, còn tất cả những vấn đề về chi phí thế này thế kia thì con phải tự lo. Đó là câu hỏi mà rất là một cái câu hỏi gọi là big question mà Thanh Hòa phải consider cái câu chuyện là mình có thể vượt qua được khó khăn đấy hay không. Bởi vì câu hỏi này nó sẽ không phải chỉ tại điểm mà thời kỳ của 94, mà ngay bây giờ chúng ta ở trong thời đại của 22 thì có rất nhiều bạn ở đây cũng sẽ đặt một câu hỏi là vậy thì khi đi du học nước ngoài tôi có thể tự cho take care bản thân tôi được hay không? Đó là một cái điều mà tôi nghĩ rằng trong chúng ta ai cũng đặt tới, và ngay cả bố mẹ. Khi mà Thanh Hòa đã quyết định và đã suy nghĩ rất là đắn đo nhiều thứ thì Thanh Hòa quyết định là chọn đi du học để để có được kiến thức. Thì Thanh Hòa mới coi như bỏ hết tất cả và sang bên Úc. Và thực ra đối với Thanh Hòa lúc đó thì có hai cái nơi, một là Canada, hai là Úc. Không biết tại sao mà cũng may là cái thời khi mà học phổ thông thì Thanh Hòa còn nhớ câu chuyện nói về châu Úc là một cái châu mà lớn ở cực Nam, rồi đất rộng, có con chuột túi, rồi đặc biệt là và khi mà Thanh Hòa tới cái văn phòng mà làm giấy tờ thì thấy có nhà con sò. Thì đó là một cái ấn tượng đầu tiên và Thanh Hòa chọn ngay là Sydney. Đó cũng là cái duyên và đó cũng là cái mà Thanh Hòa nghĩ rằng là mình đã chọn đúng. Thì khi sang đây học thì thực ra thì nó cả là một cái journey mà rất là dài, từ cái lúc mà bắt đầu từ học về ngôn ngữ nè, làm sao mình có thể hiểu được cái ngôn ngữ để cho tốt, để vì khi bắt đầu vào đi học thì mình phải nghe được và phải nói được. Đó là cái đầu tiên mình phải có. Do đó thì Thanh Hòa cũng tập trung học rồi cũng trau dồi. Nhưng mà Thanh Hòa mới chọn ra một cái hướng là để mà mình có thể hiểu được, để có thể giỏi được ngôn ngữ thì hiểu văn hóa, đó là cái culture mình phải hiểu. Mà muốn hiểu được culture người Úc thì bắt buộc mình phải sống và làm việc với người Úc. Thì Thanh Hòa bắt đầu từ từ đi tìm những công việc part time và buổi sáng học, buổi tối đi làm. Và cái công việc part-time đó, nó không chỉ Thanh Hòa nhận ra một điều là không chỉ giúp cho Thanh Hòa được cái kiến thức về văn hóa, về ngôn ngữ, mà giúp mình hiểu được gọi là hiểu được cái common sense, những cái gọi là những cái gì đó trong thực tế rất là practical. Nó không có gì để mơ hồ, mà bởi vì những cái kiến thức đó, những cái văn hóa, những cái thực tế đó, nó giúp cho cái việc học của mình nó sẽ được tốt hơn. Và khi mà Thanh Hòa đã hòa nhập được với đã tìm được cái nơi mà để hòa nhập với từ công việc, từ vấn đề mình sẽ học như thế nào và học cái gì cũng là một cái mà Thanh Hòa cũng suy nghĩ đó là học về marketing. Thì nó hoàn toàn khác với cái chương trình học của mình ở Việt Nam. Nhưng mà Thanh Hòa nghĩ rằng khi một xã hội phát triển như ở Việt Nam thì đó là những cái kiến thức mình cần phải có. Kiến thức là những cái gì mà nó mới, nó thực tế, thực tiễn và nó áp dụng cho những cái xã hội đang phát triển như Việt Nam của mình. Khi mà chọn ngành đó là một cái sự nỗ lực cũng rất là lớn về ngôn ngữ cũng hạn chế, nhưng mà qua quá trình mình làm, mà mình đi thực tế mình làm việc, mình trải nghiệm trong cuộc sống của mình, tiếp cận với người Úc, thì mình mới rút ra được rằng là những cái gì mình học, những gì mình làm, nó luôn luôn gắn liền với nó sẽ là một cái nền tảng vững chắc để cho cái việc phát triển cái career của mình sau này. Và phải nói là khi mà trở về Việt Nam, đó là cả một cái quá trình mà Thanh Hòa đã trải nghiệm gần 20 năm ở nước Úc sau khi học tốt nghiệp Bachelor ở Central Queensland University ra. Và Thanh Hòa cũng học thêm, có tốt nghiệp thêm bằng Master Information System Management. Bởi vì hai cái ngành này nó hoàn toàn, nó nhìn vào thì nó không có liên quan. Nhưng mà thực ra đối với Thanh Hòa, về cái nhận định của Thanh Hòa rằng là học cái gì nó cũng là một cái điều bổ ích hết. Giống như ông bà người Việt Nam mình nói là không bổ bề ngang thì cũng bổ bề dọc. Không phải có những kiến thức đó nó bổ trợ và bổ sung cho cái vấn đề, cái việc mà phát triển cái career của mình sau này. Do Thanh Hòa mới chọn là marketing là undergrad và post study là Master Information System Management để bổ trợ cho cái vấn đề là mình làm việc làm sao, có hệ thống như thế nào. Đó là những cái kiến thức rất là cơ bản, rất là cần thiết cho một cái thị trường của Việt Nam mình. Về Việt Nam, mở ra một chương mới, Thanh Hòa cũng về Việt Nam, cũng làm về marketing, cũng là về sale, nhưng mà nó chưa có hẳn là chuyển sang một cái gọi là cái nghề làm bếp. Nhưng mãi đến 20 năm sau khi ở thị trường ở nước Úc rồi, trải nghiệm với con người Úc rồi, văn hóa Úc rồi, học hỏi những điều hay, những cái sự phát triển, thì Thanh Hòa mới chợt nhận ra một điều rằng là cái mà mình cần đó chính là cái tư duy để làm sao mình chọn của mình, không phải học về marketing phải làm marketing, hay là học information system management phải làm cái ngành đó, mà là nó là cái nền tảng để mình nhận định ra là cái gì mình thực sự yêu thích. Vậy thì nước Úc đã cho Thanh Hòa được một điều rằng là mình phải yêu và quý và trân trọng cái mình đang muốn làm. Đó chính là cái nghề bếp bây giờ. Và đó là cái điểm mà gọi là mạnh nhất, mà rõ ràng nhất mà Thanh Hòa học được trong suốt 20 năm qua ở Úc. Đó là gì? Đó là mình tư duy được cái mình muốn cái gì để xây dựng được cái nghề của mình và cái tương lai của mình. Bởi vì người Úc có một cái điều mà Thanh Hòa chia sẻ với các bạn người Việt Nam ở đây hay là các agent đây, đó là cái thông điệp mình cần phải chuyển tới với các bạn trẻ của người Việt Nam mình, thế hệ trẻ bây giờ gì? Đó chính là mình làm cái gì và như thế nào, đó là cái mình phải làm. Nhưng cái điều quan trọng nhất là mình phải xem là mình có yêu nó hay không. Đó có phải là cái passion. Đó là những cái điểm đó nó giúp cho mình có thể học được và nỗ lực được và vượt qua được những khó khăn mà chúng ta cần phải trải qua. Đó là những cái điểm mà Thanh Hòa muốn chia sẻ trong cái buổi ngày hôm nay.
What a great story, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm not going to translate the whole thing, but you know, from the accountant in Vietnam, the second year in the university, right? In 1994, he decided to, like his father gave him an opportunity to go to Australia to have two options, right? Australia and Canada, and he chose Australia as the destination for his education. A lot of concern, a lot of question there from finance, from what subject, what skill he gonna learn, but he found his way and worked really closely with Australians to learn about the culture of the country, from marketing to a lot of other subjects. And then 20 years in Australia, he come back to Vietnam, worked in different expertise like sales, marketing. But at the end of the day, he asked himself what passion he had. What do he want in life? And he chose F&B. He chose being a chef as his passion. And that is one of the advice he want to give to the young graduates in Vietnam as well. Work with your passion. Okay. And now, Camilla, please tell us your story.
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you to Chef Hoa because you decided to become a chef, so we work now in the same industry. That is actually a great thing, isn't it? I mean, for me, right, I don't know. I was just always in between different things. I dreamed to be a singer when I was little. My mom always wanted me to become a teacher. Well, but now I make it happen for her. I'm a lecturer now, so that's fair enough.
Can you sing a bit for us today?
Probably not now. And maybe later. But what I was saying was, when I was just trying to see how I want my future to be, I probably don't know because I'm always in between so many different options, so many different interests. So I think I chose an easier road by figuring out what I don't want in life. So what I don't want is I could be pretty sure that, yes, I don't want banking and finance. Everybody going in that direction, and I don't want anything to do with money in that sector. And from what you said, right, saying things got to do with culture, things that got into with service, talking to people, is something seems to be more of an interest to me. And during that time, my dad also said, yeah, there's different countries for you to explore. And in 2008, the financial crisis actually hit it hard, and that only have a concern. You need to consider if you want to go to the US, because I don't think it's a good decision to make right now, considering we are still in the middle of crisis. But Australia seems to be a good option. It's safer, friendlier, based on his opinion. I was like, okay, I don't mind. So I went to that education expo, and I saw the Blue Mountains Hotel School at that time. I was so keen on the program that Auscham SG came and introduced to us. It's called Live, Learn and Grow in Australia at that time. And I was impressed. I was like, okay, I want this. I want to make that happen. I'm going to study hospitality. Then I went to Australia. I was 17 years old. I didn't know much about life, but I was telling people, I don't know why, I just had so much fun there, and I just gained every little bit of experience when I can build for myself, and that became like who I am today, I think. But I have a lot of time to explore the country. I live in 3 different states when I was there. I was in Blue Mountains. I also live in Canberra, for those who are from Canberra. I also live on an island for 6 months, on Lincoln Island. I was the youngest employee on the island, by the way, and 1 year in Sydney. So it's a little bit of here and there that made my experience in Australia so fulfilling. And when I come back home, there's a different story. Also, I also have to make decision. Probably you can share with it later why you wanted to go back to Vietnam. But for me, I was like, okay, I learned a lot from this country, but I also want to live a life at a normal portion. By normal portion, I mean I want to be in my country. I want to be freedom. I want to have all the advantages that I can have as a citizen of a country can have. And I want to come back to be the leader of my country, not to work for some other country. So this is my own opinion. So I decided to come back. But the moment I came back, I figured out some other things that I never encountered before. I was like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. I chose Australia for my education. I didn't go to Switzerland. I didn't even know that Switzerland was so famous for hotel and hospitality because I was so young back then. And I said I wasn't programmed for that. And I just figured out, oh my God, I made the right choice. I made the right call because the distance between Australia and Vietnam is far closer compared to Europe or the US. So when we bring that into the context of Asia Pacific, it's so much easier for me to apply into the work that I have here in Vietnam. And all the practical experience that I have in Australia, I can still do in Vietnam. And I still have that international background so that when I have international tourists coming in, customer coming in, I know how to serve them. So I think in that sense, the Australian education, the Australian background, provide me the best of both worlds. In that case, probably not, I don't believe in the best, but the best for me based on what I have right now. And I also want to extend my gratitude as well to the Australian Chamber of Commerce as well. When I came back, I did not know who to contact. I don't have any connection, but there was the first one that I reached out for, and I said I wanted to become a member, and I pay. And I think you have to pay for something, you know? You have to pay for something in order to get something out of that. So I make that call 10 years ago, become an alumni member of Auscham, and I was still proud of the decision that I made. Thank you.
Và kính thưa quý vị, với Camelia thì khi mà cô lớn lên giống như là trung học và các bạn trẻ của chúng ta thôi, chúng ta cũng sẽ có rất là nhiều sự lựa chọn ngành nghề và nghề nghiệp trong tương lai, đúng không ạ? Một số người khuyên cô là chọn những cái ngành nghề rất là truyền thống, ví dụ như là trở thành teacher hoặc là làm banking, nhưng mà đối với cô thì cô không thấy những cái đó là phù hợp với bản thân mình. Thì cô một lần tình cờ thì cô tìm được cái thông tin về khóa học bên Úc về hospitality, và giữa lựa chọn Úc và Mỹ thì cô đã lựa chọn Australia để là nơi cô học tập. Và trong cái thời gian học tập ở Australia thì cô cũng hoàn thành khóa học của mình và quay về Việt Nam với mong muốn là đóng góp cho đất nước của mình và trở thành leader của đất nước mà mình sinh sống. Và khi mà về Việt Nam thì cô không có nhiều cái contact, thì một trong những cái tổ chức đầu tiên mà cô liên lạc đó là Auscham để trở thành member. Và đến ngày hôm nay thì như quý vị cũng đã thấy là cô đang ngồi ở đây và trò chuyện với chúng ta như là một cái rất là active member, đúng không ạ? Trở lại câu chuyện với anh Hòa nhé, thì em biết là anh có rất nhiều background của anh là trong marketing, nhưng mà cơ duyên nào khi mà anh về Việt Nam thì anh trở thành một đầu bếp? Và em cũng từng xem cái show của anh MasterChef Vietnam và You Are My Idol. So how are you doing? How are you doing after the show?
Phải nói là một ngày ngồi trong văn phòng làm việc thì Thanh Hòa thấy có một cái giống như là cái message pop up trên cái trên screen á, nó là vui đầu bếp mùa đầu tiên về Việt Nam. Thì Thanh Hòa nghĩ chứ wow. Thực ra thì đây là một cái chương trình rất là tuyệt vời. Khi mà Thanh Hòa còn ở Sydney thì đã theo dõi rất là nhiều cái năm rồi. Ở bên kia thì họ cũng hay khuyên là bạn bè là nói ô thôi mày thì tham gia đi, thấy mày cũng nấu ăn cũng không tệ, nhưng mà Thanh Hòa nghĩ là nó chưa phải là đúng thời điểm để mà mình tham gia, tại vì có nhiều cái liên quan lắm về công việc, rồi mình cũng không có chắc là mình sẽ có đi bao xa, rồi tham gia xong rồi được cái gì. Nhưng mà về Việt Nam thì mình thấy rằng là mình mới nhận ra một điều rằng khi cái xã hội Việt Nam đang vào trong cái guồng phát triển, có nghĩa là những cái ngành về dịch vụ, những ngành về hospitality nó rất là cần những cái người mà ở nước ngoài về. Và phải nói một điều rằng là trong suốt 20 năm sống ở Úc thì có lẽ là một trong những cái điều mà Thanh Hòa thấy tuyệt vời nhất đó là những cái trải nghiệm về những cái trong cái lĩnh vực mình đang làm, đó là hospitality, đó là những cái concept về dịch vụ, về sản phẩm, về chất lượng. Đôi khi Thanh Hòa thấy rằng chỉ cần bước vào một quán cà phê rất là nhỏ thôi thì các bạn phục vụ đã là say hi rồi, một cái lời hi mà rất là warm welcome, chứ không phải là hi mà cho có lệ, từ cái trải nghiệm đó. Và ngay chính công việc mình làm khi mình làm part time thì mình thấy rằng đây là một trong lĩnh vực đang phát triển. Do đó thì khi mà mình quyết định tham gia vào cái chương trình MasterChef hay là vua đầu bếp Việt Nam mùa đầu tiên á, đó là chỉ một cái trải nghiệm thôi. Mình muốn trải nghiệm coi là chương trình như thế nào, có vui không, có hấp dẫn không, có lý thú không. Thì khi mà mình vào trải nghiệm á, thì mình thấy rằng vậy thì cái việc mà mình làm chuyển thành một người đầu bếp, đó là cả một cái, nói chung là có cơ hội mình sẽ làm. Cơ hội không những là mình nó không phải đến bây giờ, nhưng mà phải có sự nỗ lực của mình. Và khi sau chương trình mình nói chung là mình cũng cố gắng làm sao để mà có thể trải nghiệm hết được những cái gì hay, những gì phong phú trong chương trình để mình đem lại cho cái kiến thức cho mình. Và sau chương trình thì bắt đầu Thanh Hòa mới gọi là đi sâu và định hướng rằng đây là cái nghề của mình sẽ chọn. Và với những kiến thức, vừa là kinh nghiệm nè và trải nghiệm ở trong công việc của mình trong thời gian vừa qua, kết hợp với lại những cái gì mình đã làm và những cái đi học ở các trường đại học, thì việc chuyển sang làm người đầu bếp ban đầu nó cũng khá là thuận lợi. Phải nói là bởi vì đó là một cái gì đó, nó đang là một cái sự thay đổi về cái gọi là nhận thức của người Việt Nam đối với nghề làm bếp. Có nghĩa là người Việt Nam mình đánh giá cao hơn, trân trọng hơn những cái công việc của người đầu bếp. Tại vì thực ra đó là cả một cái sự trước đây thì người Việt Nam mình không có xem trọng và coi người nghề làm bếp là một cái nghề mà không có sự lựa chọn nào khác. đó là như vậy. Nhưng mà sau những cái chương trình thực tế như vậy thì Thanh Hòa thấy rằng đây là cơ hội tốt mà để mình có thể phát triển, thì tất nhiên nó giúp cho mình tiếp cận gần hơn đến với những người khách hàng, rồi mình có nhiều cái cơ hội học hỏi nhiều hơn, trau dồi nhiều hơn. Tại vì bản thân Thanh Hòa cũng không qua một cái trường lớp nào về đào tạo về thành một người đầu bếp chuyên nghiệp hết, mình học từ cái gọi là cái giống như là cái trải nghiệm của mình thôi. Thì ban đầu cũng gặp nhiều khó khăn, nhưng mà dần dần thì những khó khăn đó nó vượt qua, bởi vì mình như Thanh Hoàng cũng chia sẻ là cái gì cũng vậy, khi mình yêu rồi, mình thích rồi, mình mong muốn, thì tự nhiên những đó là cái động lực giúp cho mình vượt qua được những khó khăn ngay từ ban đầu. Tại vì nấu ăn một món, hai món, hay là nấu ăn cho một số lượng, một người, hai người thì đơn giản, nhưng mà nấu cho cả những người khách, những vị khách, mà khách thì đã rồi là rất nhiều cái sự yêu cầu, khó tính có, dễ tính có, người muốn này muốn kia, đó là cái chuyện rất bình thường, ngành dịch vụ là phải như thế. Thì qua những cái trải nghiệm đó thì mới rút ra được ra vậy thì mình cần phải có sự kiên nhẫn để mình làm sao cho cái công việc của mình là tốt hơn.
Okay, thank you. The chance that bring Hoa being a chef is from the banner of Master Chef Vietnam, and he realized that there's a great opportunity in Vietnam for the F&B industry with a lot of experience from his part-time job, and he learned from school. He wanted to try. And after that, he found his passion being a chef. And at the beginning, quite struggle a little bit, but at the moment, you're doing great. Okay, good to hear. What about you, Camellia? So when you get back to Vietnam, how do you find the hospitality industry back then and now?
I came back home 10 years ago, and I think that is there's a lot of changes back then, because Vietnam started to be recognized by the world. From what we see from the hospitality sector, we see more international hotel coming up. From what I see, I was in Hanoi. I'm from Hanoi, by the way. We have new hotels coming up. I will also remember Da Nang as an example. The city back then, it wasn't even considered a city. It was always a coastal province in central Vietnam, getting hit by the storm every single year, and people still keep telling, oh my God, I just cannot believe another storm season gonna come back, you know? But then we start seeing Vietnam having wonderful events, and Da Nang become probably one of the most livable city in Vietnam. So with all that changes, we have airports everywhere, and then I don't even know, right now probably it's not difficult for us anymore to find a hotel job, because we have new hotel coming up every single province, every single city, and the job market is growing so fast. But when I came back, it was also, I wouldn't say everything was like roses and beautiful and smooth all the time. I was just a fresh graduate. So I came back and I have to find myself. I try to fit in into the to build a career in Vietnam. I didn't land to a hotel when I first came back. I worked for a small company of 10 people, Italian company, specialized in coffee and equipment. My partners are hotels. I spent 3 years working with them, learning the accounting system, even though I work in sales, and I start to fit myself into the context of Vietnamese environment back then. And I found my way up. I was a key person at the hotel, the one who bring money to the company, even though it's a small company, but I know I make a difference there, because nobody stay in that job for more than 6 months, but I stayed for 3 years.
Wow.
So after that, I was like, okay, what's next for me? Yeah, in a small company, it's good for you to be multitasking and everything, but I think I need a bigger challenge. So that's the moment I say, okay, is it the right call right now for me to go back to hotel? Because hotel always have jobs opening up. So I chose to apply for the Sofitel at that time, the Sofitel Plaza in Hanoi. The only challenge for me at that time, they say that, yeah, we want you for who you are, but based on your experience, because you've been stay away from the industry for so long. So if you go with us, you probably have to start from the beginning. So for my second job there, I actually earn less compared to the previous job that I have, knowing that I need somewhere to start again, okay? So I have to start. But it didn't take me long. I mean, I was struggling a bit for 2 weeks, 2 months, just to make sure that, yeah, I'm gonna get over this reverse culture shock. And when I settled, it took me 6 months to become a superstar. And every single year, I have 1 promotion. For every single promotion, I have 2 levels up.
Wow.
So I became 26 years old, a director of sales for an international 5-star hotel. That never happened before.
Great.
And right now, I just do what I want, do what I like, and nobody actually stopped me from doing anything.
All right.
So yeah.
So all of that success, do you think, where do you find Australian education help you to get that success?
I think the most important thing that I think for the education, Australian education, probably there are 2 things. One is the foundation. The system itself is internationally recognized, accredited program as well that actually open up opportunity for you to study even higher. So with that, I do believe that the quality of education is something that can be compared to any other education system in the world, including the UK or the US. So there's no different on that. The next thing that I learned from this education system as well is somehow the approach for the Australian education seems to be a bit more friendly compared to the others. I think that's why I'm trying to explain that even the distance between Australia to Vietnam is actually closer to other countries. And that also have benefit when it comes to culture. The culture shock in Australia are probably going to be a little bit less compared to other countries as well. So that's a good thing.
Right.
And very important as well is the practical part when it comes to applying what you know within the Asia Pacific. Because we are not from Europe,
right.
and we're not from the US. And whatever you have, knowing Australia is somewhat part of Asia now. So
Yep.
I think that is very important for any business people to live and work in between 2 countries.
Yeah. So what about anh Hòa? Cái education, cái nền giáo dục của nước Úc á, thì anh nghĩ là nó đã giúp anh trở thành một cái đầu bếp nổi tiếng. Nó có đóng góp gì để giúp anh trở thành một cái đầu bếp nổi tiếng như ngày hôm nay không ạ?
Thì Thanh Hòa cũng đồng ý với Camilla về cái hệ thống education của bên Úc, cũng như về cái văn hóa, cũng như về cái môi trường. Đó là một cái điều nó rất là gần với cái văn hóa người Việt Nam của mình. Gần có nghĩa là về distance ha. Cái thứ hai nữa là về cái hệ thống, về cái recognition của những cái hệ thống education, mà để khi mà các bạn trẻ mà có cơ hội, có mình đã trải nghiệm qua rồi đó, thì nó là một cái foundation tốt để mình có thể moving up cái different level trong những cái gì mình đang muốn làm. Ngoài ra thì với Thanh Hòa trải nghiệm đó là cái rất là practical, rất là thực tế. Đó là cái gì? Đó là câu chuyện giữa education mà đang được recognize kết hợp với lại cái môi trường học và cái văn hóa, giúp cho con người của mình nó sẽ được có những trải nghiệm thực tế hơn, và những cái đó nó áp dụng vào trong công việc của mình. Và những cái điều mà Thanh Hòa đã trải nghiệm qua bây giờ nó giống như nó trở lại để giúp cho những cái phần việc làm một cái đầu bếp có nhiều cái góc nhìn và nhiều cái sự đánh giá nó tốt hơn.
Yeah. Rất cảm ơn anh.
Thank you.
Okay, great conversation. Thank you very much, Camellia, for all of your sharing. And cảm ơn anh Hòa rất là nhiều. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing last couple of days, and thank you very much for everybody attending. There is so much to take home from what we have experienced, and firstly I'd like to thank once again our organising committee, Aaron, Brian, Julie, Nyan, Rebecca, Simon Fraser and Jackie Lamb. Thanks very much guys, great job. We'd also like to thank our partners DFAT, Austrade and representatives from WA, Queensland and Victoria. Guys, as we heard, the education opportunities in Vietnam are phenomenal, and Dennis spoke to that today. So I think what I'd do is give you just a couple of reflections. Education is transformative. How is it transformative? You go from selling sticky rice under the stairs in Hanoi to studying in Yale. That's transformative. The other thing that I've reflected on is that I'm a product of education in the 70s and early 80s. Yes, I've just carbon aged myself. And at that time we had 5 career choices. And standing at that time, looking forward, influencer would never have been considered a career, and perhaps should not still be considered a career. So the challenge for you in education is, how are you going to be able to help industry to fill those jobs that we haven't even started to think about yet? Auscham is committed to working with our education partners to make sure that we carve out our space here in this rapidly accelerating market in conjunction with the activities of DFAT and Austrade. So that partnership will create new connections, new opportunities, new partnerships. Again, on behalf of the organising committee and Auscham, thank you so much for your attendance today, and we wish you a very pleasant weekend. Koitun vui vẻ. Thank you very much.